I believe that the best advice derives from shared learned experiences. Yep, that's what I believe. Hello and welcome. You're watching Hood Parenting, and I'm your host, Yasheka Foster. Today's video is for us all. FUA, for us all. Let's get into today's video. So let me explain to you what I mean when I say that the best advice derives from shared learned experiences. I believe that when a person has experiences in certain areas, they are better to give you better advice, right? That's it. They're better to give you better advice. So let me tell you how this conversation came up. I was talking to someone on the phone and they were telling me about there's an artist, a female artist who has advised young girls not to get married in their 20s. And so when I heard this, my first comment was, or my first question was, is that particular artist married? And they said no. I said, so I would assume that young women would not listen to someone who has never been married in taking marriage advice. Like if I wanted to be married and I'm in my 20s, I would not listen to someone who's never been married to say whether or not I should get married or if I should wait to my 30s or 40s to get married, right? I wouldn't listen to them. Now, am I saying that I would take advice necessarily from anybody? I don't know. But what I do know is I wouldn't take it from someone who has never had that experience. This is what I've learned about life. In terms of advice, when someone shares an experience with you, one thing they can do is give you a different perspective of one that you have yet to experience. So in terms of marriage, right? I got married the first time at 18, okay? I didn't know much about being a girlfriend, let alone much about being a wife. But at the same time, I didn't have really many people that I can talk to this about except my grandmother. My grandmother had got married at a young age, and so had my mother. Both of them had got married at a young age. Both of their marriages looked different, right? One had one experience, one had a different experience. But for me, I knew that I couldn't definitely go and talk to someone who had never been married to ask them how did they feel about me getting married as an 18-year-old woman. And so when it comes to this artist who's telling 20-year-olds not to get married, I would hope that you guys are not listening to, or anyone are not listening to someone who doesn't have experience in a certain area. And that's why I believe that the best advice derives from shared learned experiences. If I wanted to become rich, I would definitely have a conversation with somebody who's been rich, whether they are currently rich or they was rich and they lost it or whatever the case may be, but someone who has some point made enough money that I identify as being rich. I would not take financial advice from someone who makes the same amount of money as I do. Now, this isn't to say that I can't learn something from them, because if they tell me, hey, I heard there's a really good stock going on, or there's a really good way to invest your money, or I heard about this right here, I'm going to listen to that, right? I'm going to listen to that because they're giving me something that maybe I didn't know about, some type of knowledge. But now they can't tell me, if I was you, Yasheka, I would do this and this with my money in order to get rich. Why? Because they've never been rich. And if they feel like they have the answers, then why not they do what they're telling me to do? It's just that simple. It's just that simple. So I took a word of advice from them, but I was very selective in what I took from them. I only took some experience, because guess what? That stock that they told me about, they may very well have made some money off of that stock. Or that investment that they told me about, they very well may have made some money off that investment. But in terms of being rich, by my definition, until they've gotten there, I'm not going to take that advice from them. So this goes for anything else in your life. If I am in a relationship or I am a married woman, I would not take advice in terms of relationships from a single woman or a woman who has never been married, right? Now, I'm not going to say that I won't listen to human behavior advice. If they were to tell me something about, well, statistically speaking, or well, I've dealt with men and they've done this in this area. Those things are different than, well, if it was my husband, I wouldn't do this and that and the third. Why? Because they've never had a husband. They can't tell me marital advice if they've never been married. Now, married and divorced is one thing. Just like I won't listen to financial advice for someone who's not rich. I will not listen to marital advice from someone who's not been in a status that I want to be in. Now, if you are someone who that's not your goal, for example, and I'm just using marriage as an example, just like anything else. If what that person is advising you on is not your goal, again, you can take that information, right? Because it's a shared experience. And you might put in your kickback to use at a later date. Because even if the advice is not something that aligns with you, if the advice is not something that aligns with your morals, you can still learn something from it. If nothing else, you can learn what not to do, or a different side of the same coin, right? The other side of the same coin, right? You'd be like, okay, well, I've been looking at it from this perspective. Now I flip the coin over and I can see it from this perspective. It's just that simple. So it just gives you more knowledge in your brain, in your kick bag, right? More knowledge that later on in life you may have to pull those things out. So that's all this video is about, because I don't really understand how we have gotten into this part of the world, especially dealing with social media, where people will hear one thing from one person and they will take it and run with it. They forget about all the things that don't align with what they believe. They listen to this one thing that aligns with what they believe and they run with it. And it's not just young adults that do it. It's older adults that do it as well. And that's why this video is FUA, for us all, because I see it every day in day-to-day life when dealing with adults and young adults. Things that we take as gold, things that we take as this is the coffin in the nail in the coffin, and you're taking advice from someone who has not lived that experience. Aren't we tired of doing the same things that we've been doing, right? Isn't that the definition of insanity? Is doing the same thing, hoping for a different outcome? Isn't that the definition? Let's do something different. So if you want to learn how to be rich, take advice from somebody who's been rich or is rich. If you want to learn a good relationship or what a good relationship is in your eyes, then get with somebody that has a good relationship or healthy relationship, or a relationship that you would love for yours to emulate. Can't be like it, because never two things are the same, but emulate it, right? Take some good qualities from it. But here's the thing though, remember this also, you can't learn everything from one situation or one person. You got to put bits and pieces from everybody. Same thing with anything else. Same thing with anything else. Get with someone that can teach you the things that you want to learn, and they've had those learned experiences. If this is your first time here, be sure to like and subscribe and turn on your notifications so when I upload a video or go live, you will be the first to know. Thank you so much for watching Hood Parenting. I'm your host, Yasheka Foster, and I will see you guys in the next videos. Bye.